Hello, let's look at chapter 21 of To Kill a Mockingbird, and this chapter is mainly about the verdict, right? The chapter starts off with Calpurnia showing up. That's how the last chapter ended. She showed up and she passes Atticus a note from Aunt Alexandria and basically says the children are missing. Atticus reads this note and tells the judge that her kids are missing. Is there something we can do? And before he even finishes the sentence, Mr. Underwood, right, the reporter for the paper, points out that the kids have been there since precisely 1:18 or whatever time it was when they showed up. But he knew, he made a note of this, and he has the kids come down and sends them home to eat dinner because it's pushing 7 o'clock, I think, and the trial is over. We're just waiting on the jury. So he sends the kids home with Calpurnia to eat. They want to come back. Atticus says that they can come back. But Atticus says that the verdict might happen before they get back. So go home, take your time, eat. But the verdict could come any minute, so you might miss it. Jem is really excited, right, when he's talking to his father. He's like, Atticus, have we won? And his dad is not so sure. Okay, it's just we'll see. But Jem's got it figured out. They're going to win. And hopefully you saw the trial or you read the trial and you understand that Tom Robinson is innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. Okay? He did not rape Mayella. He should not be in trial in the first place, and he should be set free. So here they are at dinner. Calpurnia and Aunt Alexandria totally disapprove of the children being at the trial, which makes sense. Scout was excited because Calpurnia is yelling at Jem for taking his little sister to this trial. So we have that. Scout did not get yelled at for once. Dill ate with the kids, of course. He's right there with them the whole time. And after they ate, about an hour later, the children went back to the trial. And when they got back, Reverend Sykes had a seat saved for them. The dinner was pretty quiet, and Alexandria did not say a thing. She was pretty upset that Atticus let the kids go back to the trial. She totally disapproved of that. But the children are now back, and they're waiting on the verdict. So back at the trial, Reverend Sykes saves them the seat, and Jem reviews what they missed, right, while they were at dinner. And basically all they missed is the judge instructed the jury, said if you believe this, then Tom's innocent. If you believe that, Tom's guilty. And Reverend Sykes thinks that maybe the judge leaned toward Tom's side a bit. And Jem tells us that the judge is not supposed to do that, but Judge Taylor is probably doing one for Tom, right? Doing the right thing here, kind of like Atticus has been doing. We know Judge Taylor wants to see justice because he appointed Atticus the only lawyer who would really do anything for Tom. Jem's excited. He thinks Atticus has won the trial. Reverend Sykes is not so confident. Again, we have someone else being reserved. Reverend Sykes says he's never seen a jury not convict a black person. You know, that's that systematic racism during the 30s and sooner and later. Jem and Reverend Sykes continue to talk about details of the trial. And Reverend Sykes is like, we shouldn't be talking about this in the presence of your sister. And Jem's like, oh, she doesn't understand. And Scout, of course, won't take that. She's like, I understand every word you're saying. And that was the last they talked about the details. But we know the details. We saw the trial, so we don't need to hear about it in the book anymore. So then they just go on waiting and waiting and waiting. The courtroom is still and quiet. We hear babies crying and hushed voices. It's like church. Everyone is there quietly waiting. Everyone's on pins and needles. People on the balcony are very reverent. It's really kind of an interesting, quiet time. And Scout has never seen people behaving like this except in church. They waited for at least 3 hours. They got there after dinner. The clock struck 8, and then Scout falls asleep, and it strikes 11. So doing nothing for 3 hours. Scout falls asleep on Reverend Sykes. She wakes up. She's bored. She's counting people. There's this many people. There's this many redheads. There's this many people with blonde hair and brown hair. And she just looking for things to think about. And one of the things she thought about, which I thought was kind of funny, was she remembered something Jem was telling her. That if a bunch of people sat in a stadium and everyone concentrated on a single tree, that tree would catch on fire. It's kind of like the power of prayer. If everyone set his or her mind to it, something miraculous could happen. And Scout thought that it would be great if everyone in the courtroom would concentrate on setting Tom Robinson free. So Scout's kind of doing that. She knows that Tom Robinson is innocent. She doesn't have that racism. She's not going to think that, oh, he's black, he's wrong. So we'll see what the jury says. The jury is really the people who count. And then we finally get the verdict after waiting for over 3 hours. Jem was optimistic, right? Even though it's taking a long time, he knows they've won. Jem sees the justice in things. He sees that Tom Robinson did not commit this crime. And we get this weird couple of dreamy paragraphs. And Scout is reminiscing about things that happened previously in the book. She does this sometimes in the story. It's a feeling of anticipation. Something's going to happen. Something is happening. And she's there on the sidelines watching, such as Miss Maudie's fire, such as shooting the dog. And here she has this feeling of Atticus getting ready to do what he does best, but he's not prepared. Like he's going to shoot, but the gun's not loaded. It's not going to turn out right. And we have our first foreboding. It's not really the first, but it's the first one from Jem or Scout that this trial may not end up the way it should. The jury comes out, and they never once look at Tom Robinson. And Scout knows from previous jury experience or from previous trial experience when she's watched, and her father told her this trick, that when a jury convicts someone, they never look at that person, right? They look down or they look somewhere else. They can't look the person they convicted in the eye. And the jury comes out. They don't look at Tom Robinson. They read the results. He's guilty, 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 guilty 12 times. Everyone convicted Tom Robinson of rape of Mayella, which we know is wrong. It's one of the worst things possible. After the trial, Atticus leaves. He did not leave by his usual exit. He wanted to get home quick. He's tired, right? And as he was leaving, the African Americans in the balcony did not. They didn't leave, right? A lot of people left, but the African Americans stayed there. And when Atticus left, everyone stood out of respect. And Scout didn't. It was just her dad. But Reverend Sykes, knocked her and said, Jean Louise, stand, your father's passing. Everyone respects Atticus for what he tried to do. And that's pretty much how the chapter ended. So we will continue with chapter 21 on the next school day. Have a great day.